I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of the Shooting Show. We certainly want to welcome you to today's program. By now, you've already noticed that we're on Channel 11 tonight on satellite, G6 Channel 11. And we have no control right now over some of our movements. We have some folks at our uplink we're working with. And, of course, what actually happened, a major company literally came along and bought our transponder out from under us. So that's why we got moved. Since we only buy an hour and a half a week on satellite, well, that leaves us kind of near the bottom of the totem pole as far as priorities. And you know, there are some things we can do about this. If we get our Gun Owner Rights Association, if we get it running to a point we can afford some things, if we can raise enough money through it, well, then we'll be able to get a much better satellite arrangement. We'll hopefully be able to get on the little dish. We'll be able to do a lot of things that right now we simply cannot do. So all I can say is I'm sorry for the confusion here, but hopefully enough of you were able to run through your satellite channels and see where we were, and we appreciate every one of you watching. Someone called this week, and I was talking to them. They said, well, Johnny, you get so many calls, which is true. I do get a tremendous number of phone calls and try and return or answer as many as is all possible. But this individual said, well, we may just be a number out here. That's not true, folks. Every viewer we have is extremely important. And yes, there are quite a number of us here, but my goodness, we don't deal in numbers, we deal in people. And we want everyone to know just how much we appreciate your support and you being here with us, whether you contribute to our project or not. Because even if you don't contribute, maybe you can say something nice about us to someone else and tell them how important that the shooting disciplines are on television. You know, this is the only place on television you can get this information, friends, what we give out here every week, the only place on television. And I wish it weren't so. And we have been talking with some other folks, our friend Ed Hubble in Michigan, about the possibilities of getting up enough of us who do programming to possibly do a gun-friendly network. But that apparently is a long time in the future. We don't know. But for now, if you want to do something, if you'd like to make an effort, like to help, well, join our Gun Owner Rights Association, friends, because let me tell you what, time is short. You know, this week we were made aware that the Clinton administration, through the Justice Department, working with the FBI, they want a whole new sweeping list of federal powers. Now, what this amounts to, and I'll be brief on this, but it's really important. They're trying to get the power for Janet Reno in the event of a terrorist event, whatever they may choose to cause a terrorist event. And we know, just like in New York City, what was Ruby Ridge, Idaho, that wasn't a terrorist event. But in this case, or in that case, the terrorists were not Randy Weaver and his family. The terrorists worked for the United States government. What about Waco, Texas? That was a terrorist event. But again, the terrorists were not the Branch Davidians. The terrorists happened to be the government forces that burned them alive. So who knows what Janet Reno is going to call a terrorist event. In Oklahoma City right now, through all of the investigation that has managed to come out, they've tried to suppress as much as possible, but you know, the government had prior knowledge, according to court testimony. They had prior knowledge of that explosion there in Oklahoma City. So what is a terrorist event? Okay, whatever they choose to call it. But they want to give Janet Reno the power to close all the airports, all the bus terminals, any transportation in the United States at her whim. She says, I shut them all down, and suddenly all the airports are closed. Maybe some of the interstate highways are closed, the train stations closed, the bus station, everything stops here in the country at the whim of Janet Reno or her president. Now think about it, friends. Think about it. They want free access to your internet records. They want free access to tap your phone lines. They want free access to establish an FBI supervised, supposedly, or Justice Department national police force. Now, we've been talking about this on the program for a while. You know, we've had all kinds of reports from around the country on some of these federal detention centers, and we know that some of them are out there. We know they're out there. And apparently they've got a lot of things planned for us, rushing toward the New World Order, and they want to be legally able to put them in place. Their resources are already there. They've been training the military to work as police in this country, to go house to house and confiscate guns. Now, friends, this has been going on. A lot of you out there have read in your local newspaper about these maneuvers in American cities. What is this about? We know what it's about, friends. These people are trying to rush us toward the New World Order. Their so-called, or their imagined socialist paradise. You know what? They cannot do it as long as we, as free Americans, possess firearms. They cannot do it. So they're trying to make it a little tougher and a little tougher and get more regulation on their side so they can absolutely just walk over us as citizens, where they can completely obliterate our rights, forget the Constitution, forget the Bill of Rights. That's what they have in mind, friends. If you want to do something about it, and our only chance is not sending millions of dollars to some compromising turncoat agency in Washington to D.C. like the No Rifle Association up there. That's not how to do it. All the congressmen who could be bought off have been bought off by whichever side. That's not going to work. The only answer, the only chance we as gun owners have is to reach more Americans, not only shooters but non-shooting Americans, who will agree with us, who, when we explain to them about why we have guns, about why we as citizens, not subjects for some king somewhere, but why we as citizens possess firearms, and we can do it. We've got to have 13 million Americans who care. That's a doable number that can be reached through television if we just have the money to do it. Now, friends, if you would like to help us stay on the air, if you would like to join our Gun Owner Rights Association, and you know, the other organizations can talk about what they've done, and my goodness, people like GOA have a great information service. Great, let's let them keep doing what they're doing. But we're the only ones who've been on television now for 8 years, weekly, almost all the time weekly, giving out this information, talking to people, showing that guns are just machines, they're not evil instruments. We're the only ones who've been on TV for 8 years. We're still the only television program that tells the truth. We're the only ones. If you want to support us, you can send $50 for your annual membership to the Gun Owner Rights Association. To send it here to the Shooting Show, 327 Urban Rowland Road in Duberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Friends, if you would like to help us stay on the air by donating any amount of money you can, whatever you can spare, please do. Send it to the program here. You know, we're hearing so many things, and several things we've got to mention. I want to try and be kind of brief in our opening this week, but we're hearing so many things. A gun shop owner recently, we heard about the ATF people went in and they were going to investigate him, and something happened. He got scared, and he put a pistol to his head, supposedly, and committed suicide on the spot. Now, that's what they said. But, you know, who knows what actually happened, because you had some of these ATF people down there, and some of them cannot be trusted. We don't know. But we heard about this past week. We're hearing about all kinds of things happening around the country, people's homes being invaded, people's businesses being invaded. Wait a minute, friends, this is still the United States of America. They're not supposed to be able to do that. They're not supposed to be able to do it. Yet we have some of these rogue agents that are doing it. And you or I could be next. You know, it could happen to any one of us. I want to briefly tell you, those folks in New York, Chucky Schumer is apparently gaining on Al D'Amato in the Senate race there in New York. Chucky Schumer is one of the most anti-gun people in America. He's been a representative. He was one of 500 plus representatives. If he gets into the Senate, he'll be one of 100. And this man is dangerous to us as gun owners. So please, if you're in New York, please consider voting for Al D'Amato. Al D'Amato has not been the most pro-gun person, but put the two of them up there together, there is no choice. I mean, Chucky Schumer would like to send the police to your home and get every gun you've got. Also, out in California, Barbara Boxer is very, very anti-gun, and she's being opposed by a gentleman named Matt Fong, and he is very pro-gun. Fong looks like a good man. So if you're in California and you can vote. Please support Matt Fong in opposition to Barbara Boxer, because my goodness, friends, we've got to get some of these lunatics out of there. Absolutely. Some of these folks, some of them have gone crazy, and some of them are so anxious to put us in the paradise of the New World Order, where we'll all be just little slaves. And as we said on last week's program, friends, you can carry your little sign downtown and you can protest. You can carry a little sign, walk around with it there, and you know what? It's not going to do any good at all, because once they have us, it's going to be over with, friends. Coming November 30, realize that we're going to have to ask permission from the Clintonian government. And Clinton, if he's convicted of a felony, can't even own a gun himself, according to the law. Okay, he has a police force that protects him. He's in charge of our military. And his people are going to be giving us permission to buy guns. Now, that's an outrage. He should be impeached on the Brady bill, if nothing else. And those folks at the NRA, compromisers, their dictatorship in there, they ought to be chunked out for that, for the NRA helping to write the Brady bill. So think about that when it's time to renew your NRA membership, friends. Think about it. If it weren't for the NRA, we wouldn't even have a Brady bill. They talking a good game. Hey, get Charlton Heston out there, let him make a great speech. So what? The Brady bill's already here. It's already in place. We're going to have to go through this instant check starting November 30. So, hey, friends, think about it. Please join us if you will. We have a great show for you today. We have a lot of information to get on the program. I'm hoping that hey, Kitty, I'm hoping to, we'll have some pictures of the winners of the wild hunt down there, and certainly of the matches. I'm hoping we will. And, you know, now, Kitty, it's going to get loud here in just a minute. And you're probably not going to like it that well. The cats have been out here helping me the last couple of weeks. Anyway, we're so glad to have you. Let's get another shooting show underway. Yes, this is our jungle gun. This has probably been the most popular, among the most popular long gun we've ever had on the program. It's created more interest than probably any other long gun we've had on the show. And heck, we'll just go ahead and open the show again with it today. I want to remind you, we do have these great shooting show Kimbers. I tell you what, friends, this is my own gun that I've been carrying and shooting here, our shooting show Kimber, and we have shot it and shot it. We've run it through endurance tests. The Kimber quality is second to none. And if you get one of these great shooting show guns, or one of the Kimber guns for that matter, you can pat yourself on the back and say, yep, I've got the best there is, because these indeed are the best semi-automatic pistols ever built in this country, for that matter, built anywhere as far as I'm concerned. As much as we have shot this gun, which has been a bunch, a couple of days we were out shooting it for accuracy. We did a 5-shot group of 1.5 inches at 25 yards, and my goodness, that's just like factory new. Well, now, Kitty, you're going to have to vamoose here. You're not going to like this. Here, just go on now. Let's get another shooting show underway.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
One of these great Kimber. This is our shooting show model, full size, the Johnny Rowlands signature model. Well, you can make those hits out there with a mirror at 100 yards, and when you can make consistent hits on targets out at 200 yards, well, just imagine how easy it would be at 25 yards. Or at defense range. If you'd like to have one of our shooting show Kimbers, be it compact or the full-size model, or if you just want the best 1911 that money can buy at a very good price, the best factory production 1911 semi-automatic pistol ever built by any factory, give us a call here at the program, 318-377-5189, or you can write to us, send an FFL, we can wholesale these guns. Send an FFL to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Doberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Well, friends, you know, through our program here, we do run across some really neat stuff. And see what I'm holding that is very carryable here, that you can easily put in the back of your car or wherever else. We have a portable shooting bench. Now, I'll tell you what, friends, so many times we go out to the range, or if you don't have a range, we find a place that we can shoot out on somebody's farm, and my goodness, you stand there trying to hold a gun, and we'll demonstrate a little later today something about just how much movement's in a gun muzzle, but you don't have a place to put your shells, you put them down on the ground, they fall in the mud. My goodness, it's just an overall mess. Well, our friend Carl Gage has come to the rescue here by literally designing and manufacturing a portable shooting bench. And I'll tell you, it is sturdy and well made. Let's take a closer look at it. Friends, here we're looking at the portable shooting bench in the folded up position, and you'll notice this bolt right here that actually keeps the legs and the top together until you're ready to set it up. And it's very simple. You'll see that the legs are hinged, and we'll show you just how that works in just a moment. This is a great idea at a very reasonable price, and something that, heck, I'm going to use it here on the program because it's so handy, and a lot of you would like to have one of these. Now then, friends, we've taken out the bolts that are supplied with the Gage shooting bench here, our portable shooting bench, and we've taken out the bolts and put them on the side. And watch how this works. These are on hinges, and literally you just bring it up in place, and here's the other one, of course, and we'll take our bolts and run through like so. See if I can get one through here. Got the pre-drilled holes, everything's already here. Just slide the bolts in and bolt it together, and let's set it up. All right, friends, we've tightened our wing nuts here on the bolts, and of course this is made the very best. It's very heavy duty. Some of you would like to just leave this out on the range, I'm sure, but heck, it's set. All there is to it. Let's set it on the ground. And friends, here it is, completely set up with a gun mounted on the rest there. All you have to do is bring along your folding chair and you're in business. This is one of the neatest ideas that we have seen in some time, because this will be of such a great aid in those of us that like to get out and shoot our guns and don't have a range that we normally go to with a table, or heck, maybe you want to set up somewhere else and try your gun in different locals or locations there. You can certainly do it. You can call our friend Carl Gage. This bench retails for $149.95, which I think is an excellent price, and they're going to pay us a little commission on each one they sell. We appreciate that from Carl. You can call him at area 608-586-4486 if you'd like the Gage portable shooting bench. Again, area 608-586-4486. You know, friends, for shooting a rifle or a handgun, anything for accuracy, this is such a tremendous idea. It is very strong, easily leveled. And I'll tell you, this is just something we thought we'd show you that I think a number of you would like to have. This is such a great idea, and we really appreciate our friend Carl Gage for offering this to us here on the program. It's going to do a lot of people a lot of good. Hey, better shooting, that's what it's all about, is better shooting and having more fun and doing it easier and more conveniently. Now friends, hunting seasons are coming up all over the country. Of course, we have a scope here, and today I think we'll use our borrowed Super Red Hawk from the good folks over at Clark Custom Guns in making a statement here, or doing an experiment on just how much a scope may or may not be worth to you in hunting with whatever kind of gun you have, a rifle or a handgun. But we have a handgun handy that we can easily scope, so we'll take a look at it. You know, this is a pretty much life-size cutout of a deer, and this is by the folks Bore Sight Targets in New Washington, Ohio. They make a super quality target, and honestly, this is really about the size that deer are. They may have longer legs or something, stand a little bit higher, but this is pretty good. This is an excellent target. They have marked here in the heart and lung area. I tell you what, those of you who don't know much about hunting, it is I guess the oldest sport. One, we had to do it for survival in years past, and it's still a great skill, a great part of our heritage. And if you hit a deer back here, you're just going to hurt him, you're just going to wound him. If you hit him some other place, you may break a leg or something, but the deer may be injured. He may eventually die, but he may live a long and suffering, lingering life. So the ideal spot to hit a deer with any sort of projector would be in the heart-lung area, because if it goes in the lungs, the deer is going to bleed to death in a relative short order, and he's not going to have a lot of pain while doing it. Certainly the heart shots are very effective also. So let's look for a moment at just the effect or the advantage that scopes have. Let's compare the open sights to the scope sight on our pistol, on our revolver here. Our friends, we're up on top of the hill here at our 100-yard range, and we have our Super Red Hawk and we have the scope. Actually, this is a rifle scope, but for our purposes today, it's going to do just fine, because what we want to show is the difference in open sights and a scope. So let's do that now. In fact, let's bring the camera around here and look over the sights like we shoot in the gun cam, and let's see what it looks like. Now friends, you see, as we are dealing with an unloaded gun, you can see the chambers are empty there because my pickup's down there, and I darn sure would not shoot past my pickup. Anyway, looking at our front sight, you can see how we're actually focused on the deer with our front sight. Yeah, there it is. I hope you can see that. But you'll notice that the front sight is about a third as large as our target. So let's take a look. Let's put our scope on there, and this would be a range that a lot of us, 100 yards or so, sometimes further, sometimes less, that a lot of us would actually shoot at a game animal. So let's see the advantage the scope gives us. Now friends, we have literally our camera in the eyepiece on the scope, and you see this is on full power, and we can see the entire animal, and you notice how we can see which part we want to hit. The scope only has one plane for our eyes to focus on, and whereas when we have an open sight, we have a rear sight, a front sight, and then the target. So this, we have a flat plane of the crosshairs overlaid over the target, and you see even at 100 yards, the scope set on full power makes a huge difference. Now something else I'll show you, friends. I'm just holding the gun up in the air like so, and let's go ahead and sight on the deer. And one of the disciplines about marksmanship, or one of the things that we learn, is the front sight is always going to shake. And what you have to do, of course we know this gun's unloaded, but what you have to do is you have to learn to know when to pull the trigger on, because the gun is always going to shake. And that's one of the things you learn about marksmanship, is when to pull the trigger when the sight finally does line up there. See, now then, let's just take a simple rest. We're talking about taking advantage of any sort of rest we have available to us. Let's get our sure sight up, adjust it up a little bit so we can see our deer. Now then, see, with just the addition of the rest, look how much calmer our front sight has become. See, whether we want to shoot the deer or the disc or whatever else. See, we're much steadier, and we've got a much better chance. Move it over a little bit. Here we go, here we go. We have a much better chance of hitting anything when the gun is steadier. See, that's what a rest does. It makes it a lot steadier than just shooting offhand at distance. If we were at 10 yards, it's not really an issue. But once we get the longer ranges, it certainly becomes one. Now then, friends, let's just hold our gun offhand here, and you notice you're still going to get, you can actually see all that movement at the longer ranges, and you've got to be this is where the experienced shooter comes in, because the experienced shooter will know when to pull the trigger when those lines do line up. Now then, let's compare it. Let's go ahead and put our rest under it, if we can here. See if we can get this same drill going. Now then, friends, notice by putting a rest under the frame of the gun there, notice the difference it makes. And this would be like resting on a tree limb. I don't have the back of the gun supported the grip. But see the difference it makes? See how it increases your chances of a hit? Now, friends, let me remind you that Georgia Arms, of course, hunting season coming up, a lot of you will hunt with a handgun or maybe a .44 Magnum rifle, such as the Great Marlin or the Winchester. And Georgia Arms makes a special class of cartridge. They're called deer stoppers in .44 Magnum. It's a 200 grain jacketed hollow point that's running out of, say, a gun like this Super Red Hawk at about 1,650 to 1,700 feet per second. It is a phenomenal deer cartridge. That extra velocity is going to ensure adequate expansion as well as penetration. And for hogs and things like that, they have a great .44 Magnum 300 grain solid bullet that, again, is just their superior hunting loads. It depends on what you want. If I were fishing in Alaska or someplace like that and I was concerned about whether I'd meet a bear, I would want the 300 grain solid for penetration if I had to try and get a bear off of me. I certainly would. But anyway, we wanted to bring that up to you. The great deer stopper ammunition, and it is very, very reasonably priced. I don't see how they do it, where they can give custom loaded ammunition like this at good prices. Also want to remind you, cowboy shooters, Georgia Arms has all the cowboy calibers, even 38-40, 44-40, which in the past have been very hard to find. And our friends down at Georgia Arms have just such a great lineup. And they're among the best supporters we ever had here on the project. They really care about our program, about the information that we're getting out to folks all over America each week. Well, we're going to use our rest here, and we have some targets out here. We're going to shoot several loads that I have worked up here that shoot really well in this Ruger Super Red Hawk. And one of the reasons we're using it, the scope mounts so easily. You have the notches here on top of the gun, and you can just put the scope right on it. But let's go ahead and get started. We're going, I can shoot open-sighted guns at 25 yards pretty accurately, because we do it more than anything else. We do shoot at 25 yards for groups, testing guns, testing the Great Kimbers and others. And this Super Red Hawk is a very fine, accurate gun, again, loaned to us by the folks at Clark Custom Guns. We appreciate that. And let's get started. Let's run some groups with the open sights, and let's run some groups with the scope mounted in place, and let's see if we can see a difference. We're going to start, of course, at 25 yards. So let's do that. My hearing protection's in good, because, yes, these things are loud. So let's get on the way. Take your time when you're bench resting. Relax. Have the gun. This is a great shooting bench here. A good solid rest. Take your time. Now then, let's get on that other target there. There we go. Now then, let's... Yes, 44 Magnums are always loud. Let's go ahead and shoot it again. And you can see we've got a little recoil there. And we're going to shoot some 5-shot groups, and then we're going to put the scope on it, and we'll shoot some more groups, and let's look at them.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is. This is the great Georgia Arms 45 DA Colt or double action Colt cartridge. This is the first major improvement on the Colt 45 since 1873. They have this in loaded cowboy ammunition. They're also selling brass, so you can load your own combinations. This cartridge case is absolutely a joy to work with. We're even seeing improved accuracy, we think due to the slightly larger rim on our 45 DA Colt case. You can get a free catalog, or you can order these from Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861 for their entire lineup, and please tell them you saw it here on our show. Now friends, of course, the cowboy load is mild but super accurate. And of course, you can take your hand loads up to the limit of what the loading manuals will allow. The great 45 double action Colt cartridge from Georgia Arms. Give them a call today, friends. A free phone call with a free catalog.
And remember, of course, we're talking about a revolver cartridge here, but my goodness, Georgia Arms makes the finest rifle ammunition loaded in America today. The most accurate, the most consistent, and the best priced ammunition for your rifle or your handgun you're going to find at all. So friends, give them a call, get a free catalog. I wouldn't put it off. I'd try and stockpile a little ammo if I could. So 1-800-624-6861. Tell them you saw it on our show.
Now, friends, what we've done, we've set these targets up on some unshot paper so you can better see the holes. That's a bright idea for today. We'll see if we do it again. Anyway, shooting the Super Red Hawk with open sights at 25 yards. I got a 1.13-inch group with 21 grains, a favorite accuracy load of mine, 21 grains of 2400 behind a Sierra 240 grain bullet. We have the Super Red Hawk here with, I believe, the Hornady bullet. This behind 24.5 grains of 296. It shot a 1-inch group, and these are pretty much maximum loads, so we'll get an idea there of what the gun will do with open sights at 25 yards. That's about as well as I can shoot it. Now let's move to our next target, and here we have the 240 grain Sierra. Remember, that went 1.13 inches through the scope. Look what it did, .63, where I could really see the target there, 63 hundredths of an inch, a tiny one-hole group. And let's go to another one. Right here we have the 240 grain XTP over 21 grains of 2400, another 63 hundredths of an inch group. 5 shots in one ragged hole there. And then we have the Sierra Bullet over 24.3 grains of 296. It went 1.06. So you can see there is darn near a 70% or so difference at 25 yards. Now, admittedly, the 1.13 and a 1-inch group is good until you compare it to a 63 hundredths inch group right here. So even though we're only talking about 4/10 of an inch bigger, you're still talking about a large percentage point. Now then, let's look at what it did at 100 yards. Now then, friends, you see the same load that I was getting, 63 hundredths inch groups at 25 yards. It did a 3.2 inch group with the scope at 100 yards, which is good performance from a revolver. That's really excellent performance. Now with open sights, it went into about 5 inches or so, and which is going to be a pretty fair 100-yard group, I guess, with the revolver. So you can see the difference the scope made from 5 inches down to 3.2 inches, and with a different load the gun might do better than that, but that's all I had on hand to work with at the time. So something we'd show you the advantage that the scopes have as a hunting tool. I'll tell you what, friends, the value of the scope when I was down shooting the match down at the YO Ranch, it really, because I figure, heck, I can hit most stuff with open sights, and with work a lot of us can. But when we're talking about hitting a particular spot on a game animal, they really do have some advantages. And as it gets later in the evening, later in the afternoon, or early in the morning when we really can't see that well through the mist, well, many times a scope mounted on your handgun or on your rifle will be able to make the difference. One, you can see if the deer has horns or not. You can see all kinds of things about the animal that you could not see with the naked eye. So something we thought we'd show you, just a little different perspective here that makes our shooting show hopefully interesting, because we do different things. Hope you enjoyed that.
And now, friends, I want to get in the winners of the shooting match down that Blackie Sleva Handgun Hunting International had at the YO Ranch. Let's see if we can do that, and also the winner of JD's portion of the shooting match. But let's go and visit with Ed Brown, showing the black buck he was able to take on the hunt.
All right, tell me about what you got there and how you got it.
Well, this is a black buck. We're on the YO Ranch in Central Texas at the Handgun Hunter International Hunt. Eric bounced me all over this 40,000 acres. He hit every rock out there except one, and we're looking for it. So we finally ended up going back in an open pasture and getting this guy. It was a 233-yard shot, and he's a pretty nice one.
What'd you use to take him with?
Oh, this is a 6.5 JDJ, 233 yards, and Chris was my guide, and he did a real good job of spotting him.
Videotape. Can I videotape?
There you go.
I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't know he was going to be this good. When he started through the course and he didn't miss anything for a long ways, and he was moving at a good pace. And as the old adage, beware the man that owns one gun. He knows how to use it. And believe me, James Lowry knows how to use that 6-inch. This year's winner, 1998 HHI World Championship, goes to Mr. James Lowry. Gets a nice plaque. This is the Thompson Center Arms 308 Encore. Good checker.
We got him now. He's got 2 guns.
Now we've got a Magnaport gift certificate from Kenny Kelly, one of our sponsors. First place shoot, right here, World's Championship Hunt and Pistol Competition, $625 check. There you are, James. Second place winner gets a trophy, $375 cash, a lock and load. Progressive loader, Magnaport certificate with a score of 71 goes to Mr. Greg Seidensticker. Good job, buddy. Now, Greg was here last year. He shot last year, and I knew right from the beginning, when every shot that he fired was offhand, I knew he was really going to come on this year. Congratulations, fellas. Gift certificate with a score of 69. Real close here between Greg Seidensticker, who come in second, and Mr. Rick Foster, who come in third. Good shooting, Rick. What did you shoot?
44 mag.
44 mag.
Okay, and our big money winner, of course, is Butch McCord. Come on up, Butch. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, what we're talking about here is $1,350 in cash. Put this in all the magazines so the IRS knows about it. Okay, a certificate, 4th Annual Handgun Hunters International World Championship Hunt and Pistol Competition, Winchester Ammo Challenge Champ.
Thank you.
And we have a plaque, Winchester Challenge, 4th Annual Handgun Hunters International Championship Shoot, September 19, YO Ranch, Mountain Home, Texas, champion. It even has a black buck on it. Very nice. And
I shot a good one.
last but certainly not least, a well broken in Navy Army. You don't have to break this one.
All right. Thank you very much.
Inscribed on the right side of the barrel, HHI, 1998, World Hunt Champion, goes to Mr. Dorman Hardesty. This gun here, probably better than $2,000. Get that for the IRS?
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station. Now friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today, NWI, for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod. But these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're enjoying our program. You'll recognize again this fine gentleman, none other than Leroy Scott himself. Judge, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Johnny.
Well, people have asked about you and asked how you were doing. I said, well, we're going to try and get you on the program this week.
Well, I want to talk about politics this week.
Well, why am I not shocked? Yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, we've got some Senate races and some House races that are all very, very important. In the case of the race for the California Senate seat, Barbara Boxer.
Oh, yes.
Her opponent may not be any better.
Oh, he is. He's pro-gun, Matt Fong.
But anything is better than Barbara Boxer. Anything. ABB, anybody but Boxer. And in New York, we've got Al D'Amato and Chuck Schumer.
Chucky, Mr. Anti-Gun Schumer.
That's right. He is the most dangerous man around. And Al D'Amato may not be a complete advocate for us, but he is one hell of a lot better than Chucky Schumer.
Well, there's really no choice there at all, is it, Judge?
There isn't any choice at all. And we want to make sure that you all get out and vote. Please get out and vote. Please get out and vote. And vote pro-gun. The time is terribly short. Now, that's just two of the people. There are a lot of others. How many more have you got there, John?
Well, we have Carol Mosley Braun over in Illinois, and she has someone named Fitzgerald who is a much better prospect than Carol Mosley Braun. She's had a terribly corruption-plagued administration in her outfit, and Fitzgerald is a much, much better choice. So those folks in Illinois, in Carol Mosley Braun's district, please consider Fitzgerald.
Well, that's three. That's not enough.
Well, that's true, but go ahead.
Well, we're going to give some more recommendations next week. But in the meanwhile, I want to talk about such people as Helen Chenoweth and
well, while you're thinking of it, let me bring up somebody. Certainly Senator Bob Smith, who's been on our program the last several weeks.
Well, he's not up for re-election.
He's not up for re-election, but we do want you, if you'd like to see him run for president, and a lot of us would. I don't know what kind of chance he has. I tell you what, with all the gun owners in the United States supporting him, he could win it, couldn't he, Judge?
Well, he could sure give a good hustling start at it.
Darn sure could.
Scarborough in Florida is an excellent man. Mm-hmm. Then we've got one of the representatives from Texas.
Mm-hmm. Ron Paul's up for real. That's right, Ron Paul. Oh my goodness!
And Ron Paul,
he needs help.
He is top notch. He's introduced a bill to get us out of the United Nations. So has Scarborough. So has Chenoweth.
Well, let's bring in something here too, Judge. Friends, a lot of us aren't aware of this, but there is a piece in this new budget bill that will give the FBI sweeping new powers, and among those, which I know you're very concerned about, forfeiture. Going to give the government, if they find something or a gun on your property they don't like, or they suspect you of something, you forfeit everything you own. Your gun, your car, your house, everything you own, and they're trying to get this. It's called an FBI wish list. And this is being proposed. Some of the representatives, Judge, that some of our folks had called were not even aware of this, but it's buried in this bill. And people like Senator Smith are trying to call the attention to this that it deserves, because it'll give Janet Reno, they want a permanent national police force under Janet Reno.
That's what it takes, the Witchy Waco.
Well, that's what these folks have in mind, friends. Listen, November 30th, we don't know, who knows what's going to happen about buying guns of any kind. Nobody knows. And let me put in a plug for our association now, friends. Our only chance is to reach more Americans, and I'm sorry we got bounced around on our satellite. Hopefully that's going to calm down. We're doing good to be on at all. If you will help us, you can join our Gun Owner Rights Association, and we appreciate Senator Smith accepting a life membership. He's a good man, absolutely, and we appreciate that because that gives us and our project credibility when we have people sign on that are national figures like that. Friends, you can do it for $50 a year. A life membership is $300. Someone said, why only $300? Said, well, if we don't turn things around, $300 will more than cover the life of us as gun owners, or our hope as gun owners. It's a very short time if we don't get started now. You can send $50 to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dublin, Louisiana, the zip code 71024. Put on your check, GRA. Put your name, address, phone number. If you have an email address, please include that. This time is short. Yes, sir.
As far as that goes, Johnny, we can, if there are people that aren't sure about their representatives or senators, for heaven's sakes, get in touch with us and let us know. You can either ask about it, or if you'll send me an email. Johnny, you've got an email address.
Well, my computer's broken, though, Judge.
Okay, well, I've got an email address. It's Leroy Scott, LeroySCT, all small letters, at Shreve.net. And if you'll tell me who you're talking about, I'll tell you who is a pro-gun, is the, shall we say, the least anti-gun or the most pro-gun, as the case may be.
Well, friends, this has got to be done because at the rate we're losing our rights, we're rushing toward the New World Order, huh, Judge?
We certainly are, and it's a headlong rush.
Friends, they can be stopped. It's not going to be stopped overnight. And in the past, we could have done a lot more if we had only known that the NRA and some of the other organizations, but especially them, had literally sold us out by compromising. The reason we're in the mess we're in is because of moderation and because of compromise. What Barry Goldwater say, Judge?
He said moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue. Extremism in the pursuit of liberty is no vice.
And I tell you what, friends, we better get in pursuit of liberty. We better get in pursuit of liberty because we're fast losing ours.
Barry Goldwater sounded the alarm years ago. And you know, Life magazine, and I haven't subscribed to Life since then, Life magazine said that was reason, those words about extremism and moderation, that were reason enough to vote against him. And I think there were reason enough to vote for him.
Oh, absolutely. So look where moderation and compromise has gotten us. If you don't believe what we're saying, think about the educational system here in the U.S. Think about the Chinese military controlling both ends of the Panama Canal.
Now, wait a minute. I want to talk about education a little bit. Clinton has got a big education hoopla going. I have searched the Constitution from one end to another. You know, the Constitution of the United States is a document of delegated powers. It's a federal system. It's a federal system under which all powers specifically delegated to the federal government are theirs, but all the others belong to the states. And there's not one single word in the Constitution about the feds having control of education. That is a state and local matter, and it's a particularly and peculiarly state and local matter for education.
And how many other things you want to talk about? How many other things does the federal government have no business at all? Says nothing about health care, does it, Judge?
Not a thing. Not a thing about health care.
But you see, friends, they've been allowed to run roughshod over us because we had all these people say, well, let's try and go along. Let's try and just get along with these nice people. They're not nice people. These congressmen don't need to be wined and dined. They need to be harassed. We've got to do it, friends. We have to. Will you please join us? Will you help the Shooting Show stay on the air? If you have anything you can contribute toward us staying on the air, please do. We desperately need your help, friends. It's got to be done. We're losing You know, we're losing because we're letting it happen. We're literally just letting our liberty and our country slip away. We can do some things about it. Let me tell you what, it's not going to be easy. All of us who will are going to have to do whatever we can, sir.
There's a good close friend of mine who's a judge that said that the times in history when there's been liberty and freedom have been few and far between, and liberty once lost is very difficult to regain.
If at all. And now, friends, let's mention our support groups and folks that definitely help us stay on the air. We have our good friend Dennis Crocker, who is a firearms trainer in South Carolina. You can reach him at area 864-587-8722. And we have Custom Leather Work and Saddlery in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie, they do all kinds of leather work. Their number is area 504-667-9225. And Camouflage Technologies, these people paint gun stocks in a quite remarkable manner. You can call them at area 909-674-6488. Of course, Clark Custom Guns doing work on semi-automatic pistols and revolvers and Ruger 1022 rifles. Their number is area 318-949-9884. And we have Flying Horse Galleries, the folks with the great artwork on the internet. You can find them at www.flyinghorse.net. And our friend Bruce Warren with BC Armory. Bruce works on semi-automatic pistols and revolvers. His number in East Leroy, Michigan is area 616-729-5508. And, of course, we have Steadcraft, the custom machine shop there in Torrington, Connecticut, doing all kinds of custom metal work. Their number is area 860-496-7001. Friends, I want to remind you that our radio show is on SpaceNet 4, channel 19, 5.82 audio from noon until 2 o'clock Eastern Time. You can get us all over the country via satellite or local radio. And also our gospel show is still on Galaxy 6, Channel 5 from 10 to 10:30 Eastern Time on Sunday morning. So you might make a note of that. We hope we're able to stay on Channel 11 here on G6 for the foreseeable future. We will announce if we have any changes to make. We'll have more notice, certainly, than we had tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. Hope you enjoyed our program. We look forward to seeing you on the next show.
Well, it's going to be hard not to hold high at that range.
Well, let's see. You loaded?
Yeah.
Okay, have to be. Give me about a half a second to get on the